Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of the vikingage.com. My name is Chris Schad. I write for the Viking Age as well as Zone Coverage, Bring Me the News, and the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, who is the managing editor of the Viking Age. And we do this every Monday and Thursday right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel and on Apple and Spotify every Tuesday and Friday. But however you consume us, rate, comment, like, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. But we are live this Thursday night. So if you got a question, comment, or just want to tell us off, drop a comment during the show and we'll try to get you on air. Adam, you weren't here on Monday. Tyler Fornes filled in for you, so I feel obligated. How was your vacation?
It was good. I just went to upstate New York real quick for my sister's wedding. Basically flew in Saturday night, was there Sunday, and flew out Monday morning. So most of my time was spent on a plane and in the airport. Monday on the plane was a little more rough because I had a few beverages on Sunday. So I don't recommend going on a 9-hour day of flights after you have a nice long day of drinking. But I got through it. I powered through. I'm here.
Was it one flight or was it one cross country?
I flew in where my family lives is like just outside of Syracuse, and there's no direct flights from Syracuse to San Diego.
Right. Yeah.
So I flew to Boston and then Boston to San Diego. So pretty long. It was like 6 hours from Boston to San Diego. So yeah, but I couldn't sleep. So by the end of it, I was just like counting down. I just want to be home too. So it just makes everything go longer.
And then you saw your kids who absolutely let you rest and recover, I assume, right? They're just like, oh, Dad's tired.
Yeah, actually, I think they told me to go back as soon as I walked in the door. They're like, go
away.
No, they're good.
Isn't there training camp? I swear there's another flight. We booked you another one. Go away, Dad.
No, but they're good.
Yeah, they could have just booked you a flight to Egan, which would have set you right on the doorstep of TCO Performance Center. Not that Egan doesn't have the airport. The airport isn't. I think it's I don't think it's in Egan. I don't know what city the Minneapolis airport is in, to be honest with you. I know it's south of the cities and around Egan, but not in Egan. I guess it doesn't really matter. But that is where the Vikings are. They reported for training camp this week. I talked a little bit with Tyler Fornes about what was going on. People reporting, shout out to Harrison Phillips for reporting on the first day of camp like a true leader, like you had pointed out to me. But you know who else reported? Not on the first day of camp, but recently is Danielle Hunter, and that is exactly where we will start off our show today. Danielle Hunter reports to camp, but he is a hold-in. Danielle Hunter, it basically means that Hunter is not going to practice. He's just going to stand there and do nothing. And the Vikings will go ahead and they'll just be like, okay, cool. The holdout strategy is no more that they used to do because in the new CBA, he would get fined $50K a day and his base salary is $4.9 million. So really he can only do that for like a month and then he'd be out of money and have to play. Some money is better than no money at all, as Saquon Barkley once found out. But some quotes from Kevin O'Connell, the typical word salad. We'll kind of move forward from here with a positive mindset that hopefully Danielle Hunter is playing in every single game for us this year and having a major impact like he's done his whole career here. I think just keeping the focus on the day-to-day and understanding all through training camp is a finite amount of time to prepare for our season. We also want to make sure Danielle feels 100% comfortable and is excited about that as well. Hunter signed a 5-year, $72 million contract in 2018, and he's been wanting more money ever since he signed the contract. He missed the 2020 season with a neck injury and the second half of 2021 with a torn pec. Still had 10.5 sacks in Ed Donatell's defense last year, despite not knowing what the hell he was doing in the first half. So I ask you this, Adam, how desperate should the Vikings be to sign Danielle Hunter?
I don't think they should be desperate at all. I think he's a valuable, obviously he's a talented defensive player. But I think if he's traded or doesn't play at all, I don't think the defense is going to honestly, I don't think it's going to suffer that much because the scheme that they're going to use with Brian Flores, you don't really need an elite every down pass rusher like we've seen in the past with the Vikings, like a Jared Allen, like an Everson Griffin, like a Danielle Hunter. You don't need that because Brian Flores uses a variety of ways to generate pressure, whether that's with safeties, cornerbacks, linebackers, whatever. He just uses a bunch of different ways to generate pressure. I don't think during his time with the Dolphins, I don't think there was a player that had more than 10 sacks in a season just because of the way that everything is so spread out. Everyone just gets their opportunity to go against the quarterback. That being said, Danielle Hunter is very talented. And if you have him on your defense, yes, you're going to feel a lot better about your chances of, rushing the passer. He's an underrated run defender as well. So obviously Brian Flores would like to have him on his defense, but if Danielle Hunter wants to be paid like one of the top 3 edge rushers in the league, and the Vikings aren't willing to do that, I'm not going to be, sad if they have to trade him or whatever. I also think I've been thinking, over the last few days, because not being on a podcast, you just have to put your thoughts somewhere.
You're just sitting in alone with a room with all your hot Vikings
in the shower.
As your kids are pounding on the door, Adam, sorry, Dad, and not Adam.
They call me Adam
call you
sometimes.
Adam anyway, but
they do that, and it's really annoying. But I was saying, he should just sign a 1-year deal. He wants to get paid more money this year. The Vikings don't want to give him a bunch of money, but I understand he probably wants security and guaranteed money and all that stuff. But if he signs a 1-year deal, he's going to get more money, and then next year he could become a free agent. And we all know how much teams overpay, players of his caliber in free agency. So if I was him, I would just sign a 1-year deal. Maybe you come back to the Vikings next year, maybe you don't, because who knows even if you fit in the system. But I think he's just looking for security. He doesn't seem like someone who really wants to get up and move. He seems like someone who's just kind of set in his ways, likes where he is, kind of like a Harrison Smith, where Harrison Smith, we had a little speculation, is he going to go somewhere else? Are they going to move on from him? And he was just I'll take less to stay here because I don't want to move. So maybe something happens like that with Danielle, but I wouldn't be surprised if they move on from him as well, because they've already moved on from Thielen, Dalvin Cook, Eric Kendricks, Patrick Peterson. They've done a lot of the dirty work already. So Danielle Hunter would just be add him to the list, and that'll be that. But we'll see what happens, because I don't know when this what the timetable is for any of this, when something gets solved. He's there at camp, I guess, but he's not there because no one's seen him. So I guess he's inside somewhere. They say he's there, but no one has seen him. So he's not getting fined, but I don't know.
When they say he's comfortable, that's what Kevin O'Connell said. I wonder if they just stuck him in a broom closet or something. All right, you want to hold in? Here you go.
I mean, it's probably a nice broom closet. It's a very nice facility.
It's a very nice. It's the biggest broom closet you could think of. Think of the Menards plumbing section, but Viking-ified or whatever. Just there's purple, there's gold, there's a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a great time.
It's got a fireplace in there.
Right. Here's what I think about Danielle Hunter. I think that he's a very talented player, like you said. I think he's got a couple of injury issues, and he also has a very bad agent. This is, I mean, we've heard whispers that this is the revenge tour to get his money back. Sorry, dude, but maybe you shouldn't have just went, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll sign my name on the contract. That was mistake number one.
Yeah.
The other, if this were, and I know the Vikings tried to do the same thing that the Spielman regime did, where they just said, hey, we'll just push a whole bunch of money up front. And now there's no money at the back of the contract. Right. And Neil's going, what the hell?
Well, you signed it.
I don't give a shit about 2023.
No.
I really don't. Because if you get rid of Danielle Hunter, your defense is going to be bad. But you know what? At this point,
it was already bad with him on it.
Right. Like we were talking, you and I were talking, and we'll maybe talk about this later about like the Jonathan Taylor thing. And I said, Jonathan Taylor is probably the best offensive player on the Colts.
Okay.
In terms of pure talent.
Yeah.
Yes. But he didn't run for 1,000 yards last year. I think he barely eclipsed 900. And like you look at the rest of that team was bad with Jonathan Taylor leading the way, like for 2 straight years. And part of that was coaching. Part of that was whatever. Yeah. The Vikings defense was awful with Danielle Hunter on one side and Zadarius Smith on the other side. Yep. Like, think about that. Now Smith is gone. You're kind of, gritting your teeth about that a little bit about Zadarius Smith on one side. But I mean, with Danielle Hunter on the other, it's just kind of like, all right, that's a luxury you don't need. You already mentioned that. And when it comes to priorities, I'm more focused on signing Justin Jefferson, who's going to get a lot of money here sometime in the near future. I'm looking at TJ Hawkinson, who is also going to get a big contract. And by the way, they have to pay Christian Darrisaw next year. And they might need to find a quarterback who is not going to be cheap on the open market. So
Jaron Hall looked pretty good today, I heard. No, it's a second day of training camp.
Here we go. It's
no
all
pads.
All the cut-ups, right? All the, the the VEN stuff. They do great stuff over there. I'm not trying to slam them at all, but I mean, they're just doing their job. But I mean, it's just like Cameron Dantzler had another interception. He's not in the league anymore.
They're not going to show any incompletions in those highlight videos.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. They just show Jaron Hall just getting completely just annihilated. This interception after interception. We promise this is better than the last day. I'm telling you right now.
Notice how we never saw any highlights of like Kellen Mond back in the day on those videos. Never really featured in those.
Well, it's because Mike Zimmer locked him in the same broom closet Danielle Hunter is in right now. Or so we thought. Yeah. One other interesting note on Hunter. Phil Mackey of Score North went through all 400 of his Instagram follows, and there is what's that?
Of Hunters, not
of Hunters. Yes,
it was of Hunters, not of his own, not of Phil Mackey.
That would be pretty egotistic. Well, sometimes you're just cleaning it out. You're just sick of people, and I do it from time to time. But Hunter is following the Jacksonville Jaguars on Twitter right now. Brian Windhorst moments. Why would he do that?
Yep.
Do you think, is this him recruiting and just kind of like, I like that team right there? Or do you think there's smoke here?
I don't know. You never know these days in the world of social media. It is interesting that the Jaguars and the Vikings are the only two teams that he follows right now. The Jags do have a ton of cap space. They have $18.5 million right now, so they can afford to trade him and give him a new deal or whatever that they want. I'm not like too specifically familiar with the Jaguars in terms of their needs. If they need another pass rusher, I did do a tiny bit of research, like reading some Reddit comments, if you can call that research. But like there were some Jaguars fans saying how like I think it was Chason or whatever hasn't really been that impressive since they've added him, and they could use someone else to kind of team up with the other Josh Allen that is their pass rusher. And people mentioned
put that on the back of his jersey, like the other Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Josh, or his number should be 2.0.
Yeah, Josh Allen B. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. He likes cars, so it could be maybe he just accidentally followed the Jaguars thinking it was the Jaguar car. No, I don't think so. He's a Porsche guy. If you've seen any of his social media, he's a Porsche fan.
What does he think of Lambos? Lamborghinis.
You know what? We'll get to that later, but I was thinking about all the Vikings that had fancy cars, and I'm like, none of them ever had a speeding problem or never got caught. Like we all know Eric Kendricks loves, I mean, at least I do. He knows he loves like high-end sport cars, and he never had a problem with that. Or at least he didn't get caught, so we can say that. But Danielle Hunter following the Jaguars, it's something. I'll say that. I'll say it's not nothing, but it's not like, oh man, until like a report comes out from someone who's not an aggregator on Twitter or isn't an NFL rumors account on Twitter. I need it from Ben Gessling. I need it from Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, Field Yates, somebody with actual legitimacy to give me a report about the Jaguars potentially being interested. But it would be good because he would be in the AFC. I don't think he would affect the Vikings' plans or anything. Probably get some good draft capital from the Jaguars. So I wouldn't have a problem with it if they figure out a way to get him over there, if they get a decent return.
Aggregator accounts are going hard right now. Like
Oh
that's the rate. They're all over this, just spreading things. You got
Did you see the
college
Kelly
football right
Stafford
now.
stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh
like,
my God.
I think she said, I can't remember what exactly she said, but somebody turned it into, oh, she's got cancer.
She said she didn't. She was worried and she thought she might have cancer, so they went in and got a scan or whatever, and she doesn't have it. So then one of the aggregators, I'm not even going to name his name,
right?
He went and made a whole article about Kelly Stafford thinks she has cancer, and she had to put out this post and be like, "No, I don't."
I thought I did, but
yeah,
I don't.
Clearly said I don't. Yeah, it's because they have to be first. They got to get clicks, and I understand getting clicks in this business. You understand as well, but you also understand taking your time to make sure the information that you have is correct. Being first isn't always the best. So it's getting a little out of control because and then sometimes you see their posts of there's been stuff on Dalvin Cook, when the Dalvin Cook report came out last week that he tried to offer his alleged victim in his lawsuit $1 million, and one of the aggregator accounts was like, Dalvin Cook has been innocent for months, and I'm like, you are clearly fed this by someone who represents him. So let's chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I do remember the first report being, oh, Dalvin Cook, somebody broke into his house and beat him up. And
right.
Yeah,
that was Schefter.
That was not an aggregator. That was Adam Schefter.
That said he was a victim of domestic violence, and that quickly changed. But we digress.
Anyway, as far as actual beat reporters reporting news, none of us are, but I mean, we're aggregators. We're just smart about it. Okay.
You're a reporter. Don't discount yourself.
I am a reporter. Actually, that is my day job. Justin Jefferson reported to training camp, and he is practicing as he looks for a gigantic new deal. Jefferson's eligible for a contract extension this spring. He has a base salary of $2.3 million this season. No deal has been struck yet. Jefferson talked to reporters saying, that's not the worries I have right now. I'm really about winning a Super Bowl, just getting the wins and being with my team. The contract is going to play itself. I'm just out here to play football. Kwesi, basically, I mean, he said this the entire 30-minute press conference he had the other day. There's ongoing dialogue. There's ongoing dialogue about Jefferson. There's ongoing dialogue about Hunter. There's ongoing dialogue about Kirk Cousins. There's ongoing dialogue about everyone on the team right now.
Did you see what he said about Dalvin Cook?
Thanks, Kwesi. Yeah. Kwesi shut that shit down. He's just we're just gonna talk. We're gonna talk about the guys on the team. As in the back of his mind, he's like, damn aggregators. Do you have any doubts that Justin Jefferson will sign a contract extension before week 1?
No, it's gonna get done. That's why he's being so guys, I already know it's in the bag, literally. It's gonna get done. Everyone knows it's gonna get done. It's just a matter of crossing T's and dotting I's at this point, just to make sure everything's all good. So yeah, I'd be very surprised if there was no extension by week 1, because if there wasn't, I don't think he would be there. I don't think he would be risking his playing career. We've already seen today, guys like Jalen Ramsey, Joe Burrow go down. Garrett Wilson suffered an injury yesterday for the Jets. You can get hurt in camp practice. It's
the aggregators said they might have to amputate his leg. I don't know, but
so Justin Jefferson, he's out there, risking his job, and I don't think he'd be doing that if he didn't have a contract pretty much in the works. And I do believe his agent has been in Minnesota, or at least was around the time that he arrived in camp too. Also, he's 24. I wish that I was as mature as he was at 24. Like getting asked, are you gonna, are you worried about your contract? You're gonna get paid like the most money ever, and he's just like, I'm just worried about the Super Bowl, man. And just like, wow, like I'm impressed. Like you don't a receiver of his caliber, like he should be a diva. He should be trying to get as much money as possible. He should be, trash talking here and there, and he does on the field. But he's good and he backs it up. But like, I don't know. I'm impressed because he could be saying all the wrong things. We've seen a lot of disasters with receivers, with running backs, a lot of players in the past who have deserved the money, but kind of were a little less mature about it. And I'm very impressed with how he sounded with all the questions that he's been asked because he knows they're coming. So yeah, I've been impressed.
I think this will get done before week 1. I don't think the Vikings are gonna let this go on because if they wait another year, it's just gonna go up.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a lot like the standoff between Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow that just ended, really, where you saw. Okay, I read this from an aggregator. I confess here, but that they were each there's some report out there that they're each waiting on each other to sign the contract, and then somebody was gonna get like $20 more or whatever. I do think that's a thing overall between NFL players because you see it all the time where like, one guy gets like $5,000 more than the other guy and now they're the new leader or whatever. Like Herbert signed a 5-year, $262 million contract extension this week. And now there's stuff saying Burrow is reportedly going to get contract well north of that number. I think Justin Jefferson's waiting on CD line. Yeah, if he stays, yes. As long as he's got a cramp and, that's what it looked like. I mean, I'm not.
It was a calf injury, and he already had a sleeve on his calf. So I'm guessing he aggravated something.
Yeah,
but he's not going to be on the field for a couple days.
It's also early July.
It's super hot everywhere.
He like missed some time. When did he have his appendix taken out?
Yeah,
was that
right
last year?
Last year. Yep.
Yeah, and then he turned out okay.
They're okay. Yeah,
he's Joe Burrow. Yeah, I think they're waiting on CD Lamb because you see it with the other ones. I mean, they know how much a Danielle Hunter contract is probably going to cost them because there are other edge rushers that have signed for a good amount of money. They know how much a TJ Hawkinson contract is going to cost them because Evan Ingram signed a big one and the Bears overpaid Cole Kmet. Hey, if you got that salary cap space, man, you might as well burn it, right? I mean,
running backs, switch to tight end. Switch to tight end.
Running backs are gonna go play soccer after what was his name? Mbappe.
Mbappe.
Sorry, I'm not a. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Mbappe. Yeah.
Mbappe. He got
offered
that
$1 billion.
$775 million to go play. Running backs are gonna be like, all right, give me a ball. Let's try this thing out here. I can kick it hard.
That's blood money though. That's not. You can't feel secure about getting that money. Like you will. But it is $1 billion. But
WWE seems fine with it.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, look
Goldberg's high somewhere. What? Where? Saudi show? I'm in.
Right.
Yeah, I think it gets done.
I agree with you though. Yeah, they could be waiting, but I don't know. Like, I think that could be right because you don't want to give Jefferson a lot of money. Or do you want to give him a lot of money and then force the Cowboys to pay, CeeDee Lamb more money than you wanted to? So maybe they do that. But yeah, it would be a huge shock if Justin Jefferson does not have a new deal by the first week of the season. So
who probably won't have a new deal by the first week of the season? Kirk Cousins, who is he's heading into the final year of his deal. Kwesi, again, in his word salad masterclass, said, "We've had great conversations with Kirk and his representatives. Ultimately, when you sit across the table from somebody, try to understand their perspective and make sure they understand yours. That's how our conversations were. It never was a type of thing where it was combative or yes or no. It was right now we can't come to a solution that fits both of our perspective. We always knew that we were going to keep coming back to conversing about what we see about these things and ultimately trying to find a division that works for both parties." I miss
so much, a lot of nothing.
I miss like
Zimmer?
last year when he had that interview with Yori Epstein, and he's like, "Yeah, Kirk's not Tom Brady, but he's not Patrick.
Yeah.
He's not really Patrick Mahomes." Everyone's like, "Oh my god!" Like I miss that Quasi
Yeah, and
so much.
then he went in the Wilf's office because they were like, "What are you doing?"
And got called to the principal's office, like Quasi. Yeah, I know. So now he just doesn't say anything. Kirk, meanwhile, said he hired a full-time trainer by the name of Schad Cook to get his body right. Said he saw Tom Brady and how long he played. So he's like, yeah, let's go all in on this. He'll turn 35 in 2 weeks. He did a lot of body work during this Netflix show Quarterback, where he was basically like, I don't know, put through a submission match every week. How closely do you think we should watch this contract thing? Because I would be surprised if they were reached an agreement at this point. And I think it's going to go down to the wire.
I don't expect anything to get done before the season or anything like that. I think if there was going to be a new deal, it'll happen in after the season. I do find it curious that Kirk is doing all this, extra stuff in a contract year, because he knows even if he doesn't sign with the Vikings, still wants to make money somewhere else. And he even said like, I
Fully
want to,
guaranteed money somewhere else.
yeah, I want to, I only have so many more years left of this. I want to make sure I'm able to do this as long as possible. Which I was kind of shocked that he said that because I always thought like he would just get his money and get out of there. But I think maybe having a coach like Kevin O'Connell is giving them a different perspective on maybe he's enjoying football again. Where I don't know if that was the case under Mike Zimmer. Maybe it felt more like a job under Mike Zimmer and with Kevin O'Connell, it's like, yeah, we're playing a kids game, so like you got to work hard, but like you can have fun too. And I think we saw a little bit of that in the quarterback series as well, where Kevin O'Connell a couple times was like, dude, chill out.
Yeah.
Like it's
the
okay.
Miami game in particular, where he's like, who's man coverage? Hey, dude, calm down.
Calm down. Yeah. Yeah. So like, and you know what? Kirk's like super likable right now. He is his approval rating in the public right now is as high as possible. I think it was very smart of his, whoever was in charge of him getting on that quarterback show was very smart, because now even if he doesn't get re-signed by the Vikings, teams are gonna look back at that show and be like, he's a great guy. He's a great teammate, great father. He works hard, and we would like to have someone like that in our organization. So I think that was kind of like a really good marketing tool for Kirk Cousins. But yeah, I'm interested to see how he does in his second year in this offense. Jefferson talked about it yesterday, how like it's camp's way easier this year because you don't have to learn an entire new offense. You just have to like kind of refresh yourself and learn a couple new things. So it's way different. Guys are more comfortable. And we'll see how it goes with Kirk. I think they're ready to move on, but I think if he has a good season and you go to the NFC Championship, that's going to be tough to be like, we're going to move on from you. Because like if you get that close and it's with him as your quarterback and he's a big reason why, it's going to be hard to move on. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Tyler Fornes, who was on the show Monday, brought this up, and I thought it was interesting. Justin Herbert's going to get about north of $50 million per year to play quarterback. Is Kirk a bargain this year? Because there'll be $20.2 million on the salary cap this year, but he'll count $28.5 million against the cap next year, whether he's on the team or not. So I don't know.
If he signs a new deal next year, that dead cap goes down. I believe it's like $7 million over the next 4 years. So it will reduce, whatever it is. He has a bargain right now. Yeah, even if he's not there next year, he is a bargain because, like you said, Herbert's getting $50 million. Burrow's about to get, more than that probably. Who are even the next quarterbacks? Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be getting a new deal probably next year. It's going to be $60 million soon for somebody. I'm trying to think. Will Patrick Mahomes get a bump up in salary in the next few years, or are they just going to leave it because he signed a 10-year deal, right? So what are they going to do with that?
Yeah.
Josh Allen, is he going to get a raise? Like, money's going to keep going up because NFL is making huge profits. It's not going to slow down anytime soon. TV deals are going to be ridiculous. So, like, money's never going to be a question. And even if Kirk makes $40 million, that's probably still going to be a bargain for, what quarterbacks are going for these days. So it's tough. And then you got to think Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell, after next year, they only have 2 years left on their contracts. So, like, do they want to win now? Do they want to risk it and take a year, off and save some money? It's tough. It's a tough situation to figure out.
I wonder what they're going to do next year. I really do. And I mean, if they bring back Kirk Cousins, I mean, there was talk about that discount. The problem here is Kirk says, I want to remain a Viking for the rest of my career. That's basically what their camp is. Their problem is that Kirk also wants fully guaranteed ironclad deals to make sure he is a Viking and not, being traded or going somewhere else or being a cap casualty. Like, he wants that certainty, where the Vikings are all about, hey, we want to keep our options open in case we find a Pat Mahomes or we find, everybody says, find your Mahomes, right? It's almost like a Beth Bath and Beyond slogan that every general manager has in his office. And Kyle Shanahan's, it's actually a big picture of Kirk Cousins next to Brock Purdy. Trey Lance sitting in the office like, what's that picture of Kirk Cousins doing there? Oh, don't worry about it, Trey. You're all good. Or actually, you probably called him Tim or something because Tim, but my name's Trey. It doesn't matter what your name is. Are you the Rock?
Aren't you third on the depth chart? Who are you?
Yeah. Gatorade,
Sam Darnold?
shaken, not stirred. Yeah. I'm the quarterback. Okay. Let's move on to Jordan Addison, who showed up to training camp. As you may be aware, as the viewers look on, Jordan Addison was cited for driving 140 miles an hour 1 week ago today. The state trooper police report said he did it because his dog was sick. And when reporters asked him about his dog, he pivoted, which means either the dog is either dead or he didn't have a dog.
Jesus Christ.
He said,
the dog's okay.
Oh yeah, or the dogs, I guess. That is a possibility. I didn't think of that, but I don't know. You pointed it out yourself. You sent me a text. You're like, "Where's Addison's dog?" on the Instagram, but there's like 50 pictures of the Lambo he was driving. He says, "I take full responsibility and full ownership of my actions last week. It was never a good thing when O'Connell or Kwesi have to answer questions about me off the field." Then he was asked about the dog, and he responded, "I acknowledge I used poor judgment and really made a poor decision that I'll definitely learn from." Kevin O'Connell said he was disappointed. Obviously, we have not talked to you since this happened. So what do you think here?
Immediately when Kevin O'Connell said that he was disappointed, it's very clear he didn't believe that he was speeding because his dog was in trouble if he has a dog. Because he wouldn't have said that stuff if something was seriously in trouble. I listened to the podcast with Tyler, and he had a good point where, he's a young kid, he's still trying to learn how to be an adult. I remember being Addison's age, did a lot of stupid stuff when I was his age in college. I was on probation all of college because I was just an idiot. So I can relate to it in that way. But the things that I did, I never put anyone else's life in serious danger or my own. Going 140 miles an hour is that's not like, oh, just cruising. Let's see if I can get to 100. No, that's a whole nother level. And he was in a Lamborghini. It's like an SUV. So I'm sure the pickup in that, the 0 to 60 is a lot faster than, a Jeep Cherokee or whatever, some people might have driven in their college days. Still, it's something that can't happen again. And I think the Vikings have made that clear. Kevin O'Connell's made that clear. Kwesi Nofa talking about how a lot of his family called him and the Vikings and kind of vouched for him, this kid doesn't get into trouble. So this is not going to be a normal occurrence. There wasn't really anything that happened at USC in terms of him getting in trouble when he was there. So like it seems like this could just be like he got a bunch of money in the NFL. He spent it and he wanted and he was having a little too much fun. And he has got to tone that down. I think he realizes that maybe, hitch a ride with Kirk Cousins in his van for the rest of the year. But
or speed in the van. It's safer. That thing can't possibly go over 65.
No.
Right? Like it would just start falling apart like my old like Chevy Cavalier. Like I had a car, in college.
It rattles when you're going over 50.
Yes. So I had a car in college. It was a red Chevy Cavalier because I don't know. My
I had a
parents
Chevy
are probably
Cavalier.
watching this, and they're like, I'll admit, I was what you would say dumb in college, especially when it came to money and taking care of my cars because I had a black Monte Carlo. I didn't take care of it, and it went down. So I'm like, I don't have any money. So like, we bought this red Chevy Cavalier, and it was supposed to be a beater. And I don't know how it lasted 5 years, but it somehow did. Anyway, when I was calling games play-by-play, I had to drive out to Colfax, Wisconsin to do a high school basketball game, which again, I had no value of money or like hard work or any of that. I mean, I've always been a hard worker. I was just dumb in college and like the years afterwards, but I was driving home from Colfax and I heard like this rattling, like this brrr, and I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, all right, well, I'll just get home and like try it out. So I'm on 694 to go up. This is how dumb I was. Colfax is all the way over by Eau Claire, and I was like driving from Coon Rapids across the state all the way to Eau Claire to call this high school basketball game. It's like, hey, buddy, common sense. You're not making any money here. But anyway, the tire is like rattling, like brrr, and like it's starting to shake and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I better like pull off on the next exit or whatever. Next thing I know, I like go down like this. The tire is flying off into the ditch. And I'm like sitting there like, yeah, now I'll pull over. But by the time I traded it in, the air conditioning didn't work. The cruise control randomly accelerated when I was at stoplights.
I had one of those.
And the front door swung open sometimes when I turned to the left. So needless to say, I like my new car. It's got things like a defrost that works. And
power window.
Just high life over here. You know what I mean? But
I had a Cavalier too, and it was a piece of shit too.
So but those things, they're almost indestructible. Like you could just keep fixing them, and like, I mean, you could have it go as long as you want it to go.
I think, by the end of my Cavaliers run, I was driving it to my father-in-law's, and one of the tires was just a donut, and I drove like 50 miles with the donut on. Not supposed to do that.
140.
140. But back to Addison. You just hope that it's a one-time thing. People like talked about his behavior in the offseason or whatever, like not practicing. He was hurt first off. Then like somebody brought up like him hanging up on the coaches during like the draft and after he got drafted. And I'm like, why is that a big deal? He didn't know who was calling him. Like, it's not like he has the Vikings on caller ID. So let's just get a break. One thing that will help this is if he plays well, because everyone's going to forget about this if he's playing well, doing well. Because, Adrian Peterson, he didn't do a lot of great things off the field, but everyone forgot about that once he got on the field and rushed for 2,000 yards. So,
I'm at this point, I'm just happy Addison is on the field at this point. Yeah. And you know what? Like we said, was it smart? Absolutely not. Was it a mistake? Yeah. It was. I mean, it was intentional, but it was also a mistake to go and like follow that up. Like, wonder how fast this thing goes. Oh, that was probably a bad idea, especially in that part of town too. Also not a bad idea. But I mean, it's like as soon as it happened, half of Vikings Twitter just like immediately turned on him. Like it was just like, you had one group that's just like, okay, it's second chance, whatever. It's like he should be cut tomorrow. He should be locked away. This never would have happened if we just kept Adam Thielen. He's from Minnesota. He probably never would have. Adam Thielen probably drives 5 miles under the speed limit. Like honest.
Yeah,
But
in like one of those Sprinter vans.
yes. Very similar. He probably carpools with Kirk or
Okay.
carpooled, but
Yeah.
it's just been a bizarre offseason. Now it's just time to get to work. And I know he's returning punts right now. I saw that today.
Oh, he
but
is?
Yeah. I
Okay.
believe Judd Zolgad reported that.
Okay.
But
Something to
I
keep an
don't
eye
think
on.
that'll stick, but I don't know. Go get paid, as he said. Let's see. Let's put in the work and let's go do this.
Maybe chill out on that a little bit though. Maybe just
A
calm
little
down.
bit.
Justin Jefferson pull him aside and be like, "Listen, dude, you can have fun, just not too much fun. Okay? Don't be dumb."
Yeah. You got any other thoughts on this, or should we move on?
No, not well. I mentioned earlier like how like Eric Kendricks, Danielle Hunter have like fast, sporty cars. I know Patrick Peterson had a bunch of like super fast cars. None of them. We never heard anything about them speeding anywhere, getting in trouble. So it's not like it's hard to not do that. You can still have a nice car and drive fast sometimes if you know certain places to go. But just be smart about
it. PSA of the day: be smart. Speed between Alexandria and Fargo, because there's like no signs of life up there.
There you go.
It's a ways away, but whatever. Other items of note: camp in the rest of the NFL. Joe Juwan, is it Juwan Johnson? Or is it Juwan? It's pronounced because it's spelled out Joe Juwan, but it's one word. I feel like the substitute teacher in Team Beal.
Joe
Jaquelin. We have a Jaquelin too on the team. That's Aaron. Oh boy. Jawan Johnson is working as the number 2 corner in nickel sets, along with Caleb Evans and Byron Murphy. You worried about Andrew Booth Jr. yet?
I'm worried about both of the Vikings' first 2 picks in the 2021 NFL draft, 2022 NFL draft, Lewis Cine and Andrew Booth and Ed Ingram. So let's do all 3. At least Ingram is still trying to be a starter. Yeah, it's not good that Booth is getting second team reps in his second year when he was a second round pick a year ago, especially behind someone who I think the Patriots got him, or didn't re-sign him at least. Who it's not like he was a Pro Bowler or anything like that, so it's not like he's amazing. Yeah, it's reason to be concerned. Also, it's the beginning of camp. I think this is also coming from the first day. They could be. I haven't seen anything from today yet, so I don't know if they could be shifting things around where Booth gets first team reps today and Evans gets some in the slot tomorrow. Like, so they could be just switching guys around and put them in different spots so they can learn like each area of the defense, because we forget that they're putting in a brand new defense, so they have to learn everything that's going on there, and maybe Booth is a little behind. So yeah, it's concerning, but also it's day 1 and 2 of camp, so no red flags right now.
I was concerned with Andrew Booth when he busted out the instinct spin move to try and guard Stephon Diggs. Just like on that slant, he just did a complete 360 and just like, this is not time. This is yes, for Duke Shelley. That's where Shelley Island was coined.
Yeah,
it was more like the Sir Mix-a-Lot. I mean, I came from Seattle like a couple weeks ago. It was like the Sir Mix-a-Lot jump on it, and like Stephon Diggs is like, well, I'm wide open now. This is fun. Then Dak
Diggs
Prescott
Diggs is having fun out there, huh?
Yeah,
Buffalo. Everything's going great.
Great time.
Yeah, wants to retire a bill, he says.
This is the most chaotic like first days of training camp I can ever remember, because you got, I mean, that stuff's going on. You got
a 20-minute press conference.
So what happened here? I didn't see this. What happened?
It was just like he was just giving everyone free reign to just ask him whatever was going on in the offseason. But it was 20 minutes. Like, he talked for 20 minutes.
That's pretty legit.
And
reporters are like, "Oh my god, yes!"
I posted a clip today of like a reporter being like, "You put out some pretty cryptic tweets," and cryptic, and he goes, "That's a great word." And I'm just like, I love you. He's so great.
It's like the James Franco meme. Vikings fans are just in there like,
first time,
huh?
Yeah.
Sean Payton said that Nathaniel Hackett had the worst coaching performance in the history of the NFL, and he said that the Jets are probably in for the same type of season. Les Steckel says hello, but the Jets are hosting Dalvin Cook this weekend after Aaron Rodgers restructured his contract, which Packer fans are like, huh? You what now? Eric Thompson of I believe it's the Daily Norseman said the Jets are going to give him $3 million of the $35 million they took off of Aaron Rodgers' contract. So that'd be go be explosive. And then Saquon Barkley held out for $900,000 in incentives. Jim Irsay had a couple of cocktails at St. Elmo's, and
they're still arguing.
Inappropriate. Yeah, they're going, but it's who is it Irsay and his agent, or is JT like mouthing off?
Jonathan Taylor's agent.
Mouthing off. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean.
It's his agent. Yeah, they're still going back and forth on on Twitter or X or whatever the fuck it's called now.
X gonna give it to you.
The thing about Sean Payton, though, he's kind of right. Not the worst in NFL history, because there's been teams that have won 0 games. Hugh Jackson, looking at you, in the Browns. Also,
Rod Marinelli.
Yeah. I was trying to think of his name from the Lions. Also, didn't the Bucks go 0-14 like in the 70s?
Yeah, they were the original Lions.
But
Eric Mangini had some clunkers. I mean,
yeah. And then what? And the Jets, I think the Jets went 1-15 when you're under like Rich Kotite. Wow, dating myself.
Yeah.
I think the Immaculate Grid is like sprouted so many old football names in my mind these last few days. I just love that thing. He's not totally wrong. He's also Sean Payton is not someone who bites his tongue either. I think being on TV has probably brought that out even more of him, which will make it even more enjoyable this year when Chris Thomason pisses him off because he's covering the Broncos now. So.
Just totally plant the seeds. Like Mike Zimmer's probably calling Sean Payton like, you need to run now.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait till Russell Wilson has like a terrible game and Chris Thomason's like, so why'd you throw 5 interceptions? How'd that happen? Russell Wilson just give him some bullshit.
Were you surprised that Saquon Barkley caved in for $900,000? By the way,
oh wow, it was it's so funny that I think
that's all it took.
Listen, Brian Daboll's a good coach, and I'm sure he's like a player's coach too, kind of, and he's probably like, listen, we're not going to give you any more money. Like, this is what you're going to get. So, and no one else is going to give you money. We're not going to trade you, so you're just not going to play. And I think Saquon Barkley's probably like, well, I'd rather play. So that's what he's doing. It's weird, and I think Josh Jacobs is still holding out. Obviously, the Jonathan Taylor stuff's going on too. Did he report to camp?
He's on the pup list.
Yeah.
So pup list with
and
a
I
light
saw something about
maybe,
I saw something where Austin Eckler said today, like, you know, we're more than just numbers on the stat sheet. We're people too, or whatever. I'm like, that doesn't make it any better. Like, you sound like we're people too. Like, we're desperate. Like, it's the nature of the position. It's the evolution of the game. You know, maybe someday it'll come back around and running backs will make more money. But right now, they're not. And there's not really a whole lot that, like, these running backs are having Zoom calls and getting together and trying to figure out what they can do. They're not going to do anything. Like, nothing's going to come out of that. Are they all going to hold out? Like, is Christian McCaffrey going to hold out?
The only thing they're going to do is cost themselves money right now.
Right.
Like, I mean, Saquon Barkley, Robert Smith was actually on K-Fan and talked about this. I wrote about it at Zone Coverage, where he said, you know, the Giants offered, I think it was a 2-year, $26 million deal to Barkley at the beginning of last season. And he's like, you just cost yourself $6 million. Like, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. And I think, so Eric Eager brought this up too. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. When Smith came into the league, he signed a 2-year contract with the Vikings. And I think,
Robert Smith?
Yep. Yeah. And I think that I think they used the transition tag on him after that. And he was able to negotiate wherever. So I don't know if maybe that would be an option where, hey, you have 2 years, slap the transition tag, you can go negotiate anywhere else, and then we can figure out, because then that would line up with their peak production. The problem is, and Smith mentioned this too, when they put in the rookie scale, he talked about Gene Upshaw, who used to be the NFLPA president. He said the owners aren't putting in the scale because they're nice and whatever. They want control as long as possible for these players. So they're not going to budge on a 4-year deal and then have because what they do is they use that 4-year deal. They use the 5th-year option if they're good, and then they franchise tag you. Mm-hmm. That's the way it works right now. And I think running backs are finally catching on. It's also hard for me to get behind the weird people too thing when the best players at that position are still making $10 million. They're looking at the quarterback. They're looking at Patrick Mahomes and his big ass house with the golf hole and the football field and the basketball gym and all that stuff, and be like, why can't I have that?
That's like when NFL players are like, why can't we get NBA money or baseball money? And I'm like, because there's 2,000 football players in the league, and there's like 150 basketball players, and both leagues generate a similar amount of money. So that's why Jaylen Brown can get $300 million or whatever he's getting now.
Yeah, about that. Wow.
So yeah, it's just it's hard. Like you said, it's hard to feel bad for these players when they're like, we're only getting $10 million a year. And I understand you want to get paid whatever you think you're worth, but right now in the NFL, you're not worth. Saquon Barkley's not worth $15 million a year. Josh Jacobs is not worth $15 million a year. Austin Eckler, you could make it maybe a case for him because he just scores touchdowns like it's every other time he touches the ball. But there aren't a lot of running backs who are worth the kind of money that these guys are looking for. They think it's back in the early 2000s, early 2010s even, where running backs were among the players to get paid. No, the game is shifting now where wide receivers and tight ends, Cole Kmet, are the players that are getting paid. In the
Why? I don't.
Justin Fields needs options, okay? He's got to secure his top target.
That's going to be an interesting negotiation when Justin Fields hits the market. Like, hey, am I getting court? No, we're actually offering 1 year and $11 million with incentives.
They're going to pay him like a running back.
Oh, geez. You know what I would do? And I mean, we already have but I mean, when Isaiah Pacheco, yep. my bit every episode, I have to mention Isaiah Pacheco. Look at him. He's the greatest running back. Like he should go into his contract negotiation and be like, I was the gold standard of running backs for the last game. He could run for 900 yards each of the next 3 years. And he'd be like, I was the gold standard running backs. And he'd be like, huh? I'm like, everybody drafted a running back in the 7th round trying to find me. I deserve a big payday. And then they'll sign somebody from Dakota State Community Technical and Votech College, and they'll be done with that. But anyway, let's end on that note.
I want to say one last thing, because a lot of these guys complain about the CBA or whatever. If it's as bad as they're saying it is, then get involved. Get involved in the NFLPA in negotiations. You have people that agree to this. If you didn't like it, and it could have, if you saw something where it could have turned out the way that it is now, then you should have spoke up about that or been involved in that before, because you only have yourself to blame for that. So,
well, and remember too, when that passed, there are a lot of angry players. It barely passed.
The CBA?
And yes.
Yeah.
I remember Diggs tweeting something against it, and it wound up passing.
Well, because it was 17, they put the 17 games in or whatever. I think that's what a lot of people were pissed about.
Yeah. And I think there were some other things too, but yeah, it's going to be fun when they put an 18th game in and a 8th playoff team.
Yeah. And I think the next CBA expires in
2030. We got a ways to go.
Good luck, guys. Running backs will be making $5 million by then.
Anyway, we do this every Monday and Thursday at 6:15 p.m. Central Time. This is the Viking Age podcast on the Viking Age YouTube channel. But if you miss us, we're in podcast form the very next day. But like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. We'll talk to you Monday on the Viking Age podcast.